Okay.
So that's when my shit becomes.
The way he angles his body, where he puts all of his body weight on his left hand and just extends just enough to just scrape the pylon. Those are the plays that decide Super Bowls. That's why every single time, I always talk about it, guys, at the beginning of the season, if the team is just good enough around Patrick Mahomes, I'm going to pick the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl. That isn't something that should just be done every week. No one in the history of football makes plays like this every week outside of Patrick Mahomes.
I want to thank all the talking heads and all the doubt. Yep. Keep it coming. Like, all it does is anytime you can give petty Mahomes the motivation, bro, I'm all for it. That's why I was excited when, all these people were saying these things. It's like, bro, let's go.
Yeah.
If I'm feeling boosted and juiced by it, can you imagine what he's feeling?
We are live, and it is time. It is the Chattin' Up the Chiefs postgame show. I'm your host, Lance Twidwell, along with my co-host, Trevor Twidwell, and Vaughn Booker, 9-year NFL veteran, longtime Chiefs player. And we are here to discuss whatever the hell that was that we saw on the field tonight. I know I'm talking to people that pay attention to this game and this team just as much as I do, so I will not be somebody, and I've made this very clear on both this show and on the Spoken podcast, that I do not and I will not ever insult your intelligence. I will give you guys the 100% truth. I will give you guys my truth. I will give you guys my opinion, and I will stand firm by that. And what we saw tonight from the Chiefs is everything that I feared coming into this season. And I know 2 weeks ago, Trevor, Book, and myself were sitting here smoking stogies, celebrating a victory over in Frankfurt, Germany, over a Dolphins team that a lot of people have been very high on, and the storyline of Tyreek Hill, facing the Chiefs for the first time. The Chiefs have poetic justice, force the fumble, scoring drive. Everything feels good. But what have we been talking about consistently, even after that game? It took the defense to save the offense once again. And outside of facing two horrific passing defenses in the Bears and the Chargers early this season, we have seen this offense struggle time and time again. And now we are here in Week 11 against a team that the Chiefs had 2 weeks to plan for. The biggest game of the season. A Super Bowl rematch. Whether these players wanted to act like it meant a lot to them or not, we know it did. We knew it did all along. Just like it meant a lot to all of us Chiefs fans coming into this week. And they got shut out in the second half for the third consecutive week. That is inexcusable. And where do we begin? Do you want me to start with the fact that Patrick Mahomes, the greatest quarterback in the NFL, throws one of the worst interceptions I've ever seen him throw in the end zone when the Chiefs had a chance to go up double digits early in the game? Or is it when they're in the red zone again in the third quarter and Travis Kelce decides to fumble it? Or is it the 4 drop passes that the wide receivers had, which now prolongs their lead in the league with 26 drop passes? One was a touchdown to the guy that once again had 0 receptions that's making $11 million this year in MVS. A ball that Patrick Mahomes could not have handed to him better. A ball that would have won the game. Or Justin Watson on 4th and 25. Patrick puts the ball right on the money, and he drops it. These are the fears. These are the things I've been telling you guys since March. Is they cannot sit back and say that all these unproven commodities are more than enough, that Patrick Mahomes can just win with anybody. Because even last season, they had to have a Juju Smith-Schuster to mix things up, to take some pressure off Travis Kelce. And we're going to sit here. I'm going to get Trevor's opinion. I'm going to get Book's opinion of what they saw. But I've been telling you guys all offseason and all season that, yes, the Chiefs have a good record. But if that's what we're sitting here for, striving for, they're doing fine. But if you're like me, a Chiefs fan that expects better and agrees to the Super Bowl standard that the Chiefs set themselves, we didn't. Us fans didn't do this. The Chiefs set that precedent. We're just following along with what they told us they're going to do. And I'm going to be honest with you, it sickens me to my bones, that this defense, this Chiefs defense, once again goes out there and puts on an absolute show. Sacks Jalen Hurts 5 times in the first half. Only allows 21 points to the 4th highest scoring offense in the league. And they lose the game. What more are you wanting? What more are you expecting from this defense? What more can you get out of this defense? They are playing as good a football as anyone could have ever imagined. Even me, Trevor, all of us, we were expecting a top 10-ish defense this season because they were that talented, and we saw what they did last season when it really mattered. They've lived up to the hype. They've superseded expectations. All 3 losses this season have been because of what? Dropped passes. Not one game this season has the Chiefs defense gotten blown out. And you know what? Hey, that team just got the best of them. Just got to live with it. Chiefs lost 41-34. That's not happened once. Not one single time. This is the best scoring defense in the NFL. And they're 7-3. With Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, and an offense that we were told was good enough. They're gonna keep things steady. They don't need to keep Juju. They don't need to go get D-Hop. They don't need to go get anybody else. They're good. Is that what you're seeing? Because you know what I'm seeing? I'm seeing an offense that's cooked. I'm seeing an offense that every single drive, even on scoring drives, it's hard. It's difficult. It's clunky. There's no rhythm. There's no confidence. There's nothing that that I can take from and say, you know what? That shows me they found it. And we give Andy Reid all this praise, rightfully so, because historically he's been great after the bye week. 2 weeks to prepare for this inept Eagles passing defense. And that's what they put up. 0 points in the second half. It's pitiful, it's pathetic, and it's inexcusable. And this is going to be a really long week. Because sure, the Chiefs will survive because they got some really bad teams coming up. If I'm not mistaken, because I actually wrote it down earlier to make sure that I had the numbers. Yeah, the remaining schedule the Chiefs have, they have a win-loss record combined of 31-42. So I'm sure Chiefs will have a couple of big games here and there, and they'll win. And shit, they'll probably get the 1 seed still. But when they get into the playoffs, you better believe I'm going to have some cold sweats. Because I don't believe in this offense at all. And it isn't because of Patrick Mahomes. Sure, he didn't play great tonight. Had a really bad turnover in the red zone. But multiple times late in that game, he put them in a position for success. And his wide receivers, once again, failed him. And once again, were the reasons why the Chiefs lost another game. Book, I'm going to start with you. What is your overall thought process on this game? Because I want to sit here and I would love nothing more than just to praise this defense because they deserve all of it. For as great as they were tonight, Chris Jones was a madman tonight. Drew Tranquill, Trent McDuffie was an animal. Snead, outside of the bad penalty, was incredible again tonight too. But we can't do it because there's such a lump in our throats, a sour taste in our mouths, a bitter taste in our mouths, because of this offense just absolutely crapping the bed in the second half again for a 3rd consecutive week. And the defense wasn't able to save them again. So I'm sitting here pissed off. Book, you and I haven't talked at all yet, but I want to get your thoughts on this, man. What did you take away from this game overall?
Well, as a fan, first of all, because at this point in my life, that's what I am. I'm a fan of the Kansas City Chiefs, so I feel like most Kansas City Chiefs. Tonight, our defense showed up. They showed up and they showed out. They gave us plenty of opportunities offensively to do something with the ball. I thought first half, our wide receivers were starting to show us, hey, this is what we could look like. You know what I'm saying? Then toward the end of the half, you start seeing, hey, after we had a bye week, we said all this. We had a great plan for almost the first half, but not quite. And then to come out in the second half and not show us anything except inept play by our offensive line, our wide receivers, even, our quarterback players sometimes, but he's Patrick Mahomes. And he's going to always, at some point, give us the opportunity to make up for mistakes that he personally has made. Those guys weren't ready for the opportunities. Once again, I don't know what's going on with MVS, but it's crazy, offensively to know as a fan that we expect that from them. Now I'm going to switch over as a player. We don't do this job for how fans feel. You know what I'm saying? Things happen as a player as it happens. Yeah, we got some players that should have made that play, but currently we on the field, and those things are plus signs or minus signs every play. You know what I'm saying? So I see it from both sides. As a fan, I'm frustrated. I can easily agree with you guys because this is where I live now. I'm just talking about some things on an address I had a couple of days ago. You feel me?
Yep. Yeah. Trevor, let's get your thoughts, man.
Listen, man, it's after watching tonight's game, it's pretty simple at this point. Coming off the bye, I really expected some things to be different. I felt like they were trying to get Kadarius Toney a little more involved, which I was happy to see that. And he honestly, he looked good when he was getting involved. He looked spry. He looked healthy. When he was getting his opportunities, he looked good. But my analysis, from my takeaway from this game, my instant reaction right now, this offense is not only not very good, it's bad. This offense is bad. It's the worst second half offense in football. And if you're feeling confident about these matchups coming up these next coming weeks, we better score 30 points in the first half because we ain't gonna be putting anything up in the box score in the second half. You know what I mean? So we better hope our defense just does their job so we can ride the coattails of them at this point. We can't put together a whole game. It's really frustrating. Our offense has spurts where it looks good in the first half, and we have a good drive. We put together a good drive. And then the next drive, we turn it over in the red zone. And then we score a touchdown, and then we turn it over in the red zone. 2 red zone turnovers tonight from, Kelsey, a guy that we rely on more than anybody in this offense outside of Patrick Mahomes. He failed us tonight. Crucial drops, a fumble, a boneheaded play. Those guys are going to be punching for that ball every single time it gets tight down there, and you catch them. They're coming for your head, bro, every time. And he failed us. He dropped that pass. He just wasn't overcoming it tonight, and he cost us big in that red zone trip. Pat was shaky tonight, really inaccurate a lot of times tonight, a lot of low balls, and it doesn't help, man, when these guys are just consistently dropping the football. You're not going to win games when you lose the turnover battle, and you're dropping passes every third pass. You know what I mean? It's just you're just not going to win. These wide receivers are not good enough. MVS needs to be cut tonight. I'm sorry, bro. We've seen enough. He's the highest paid receiver. He's getting the targets. He's getting the big play opportunities. He continues to fail. He is not him. He is not who we brought here. He is not the guy that we thought he was going to be. It has not worked. Thank God this is the last year on his contract. And this is no shade at him as a person. But me as a fan, bro, I'm done watching it. We've tried. It's failed. This experiment has failed with him. It's over. It's done. Let Sky Moore. I'd rather have Sky Moore go take a chance on trying. I know he's failed us too, but at least he's got room to grow. MVS is who he is. Sky Moore at least could become something. Rashee Rice. Let Rashee Rice run that deep route. I think he has a better chance of bringing that ball in because we've seen enough. And the drops are just continuing to pile up, bro. We lead the league in drops on top of being the worst offense in the second half. That's a terrible combination for an offense. This poor defense. Honestly, that's all I can take away from this game was this. The fact that our defense allowed as much as they did, and they were exhausted by the last time they scored that last touchdown. We just continue to put them in terrible situations. They continue to force turnovers and get arguably the best offense in football right now as far as consistency goes, scoring points every week in the Eagles. They consistently were shutting them down. Jalen Hurts was shut down. A.J. Brown was shut down tonight. Arguably the best receiver again. Here we go again. Another no-show from a big-time receiver was shut down from this defense. Like, this is an elite defense, bro. This is arguably the best defense in football right now, and our offense is not doing them any favors. Patrick Mahomes is very, very hit and miss. And a lot of it comes back to just lack of execution, and then you got guys dropping balls. I mean, Pat couldn't have thrown that ball to MVS better. He couldn't have thrown that ball better to Justin Watson down the stretch. It sucks that we got to wait that long to actually be aggressive and try to go for the win. I felt like we should have been more aggressive downfield more in the second half. We weren't. I don't know, man. Questionable play calling, lack of execution, drop balls, turnovers in the red zone. You don't win those games.
Well, and look, I don't know how you feel about this book, Trev, but this is where I stand on it, because obviously losing is losing no matter what. But I could come onto this show right now with you guys and feel a lot better about taking a loss to a very formidable, worthy opponent in the Eagles if the defense would have had a couple bad, drives where, they just they got tore up a little bit by this Eagles team. They gave up 29, 30 points. I could live with that because you know why? They've given us 9 previous games of greatness. I could live with if the Chiefs would have lost 30-27. The offense was putting up some points, but you know what? Hey, they faced a really good offense, and they got the best of this defense tonight. Hats off to them. Yeah. I can live with that. I can come in here tonight and sit here and go, guys, you know what? The best defenses get got sometimes. We're 11 weeks into this season, and this defense is yet to be got. Who would have thought? Start over. Start this season over. And you know that Patrick Mahomes is going to have the number 1 scoring defense in the league. More than likely, you think there's a better chance this team's undefeated that has 3 losses going into Week 12? Would you agree with me on that? Because that's how I think it. I see it that way. You have a quarterback that great that you know is going to elevate as best as he can the guys around him. Having the number 1 scoring defense, there's no way he's losing games. Because that's all we've been waiting for all these years. It's like, hey, man, you have AFC Championship after AFC Championship, been to 3 Super Bowls, won 2 of them. Imagine what you could do if you had an elite defense. We're here. But, of course, we're sitting here with a team that sat on their hands when they had a chance to add just a little bit to help this elite defense now. It's a wild time we're living in here, man.
It's been a minute since we've had the narrative where we feel like we're wasting this great defense on the Chiefs.
And that's the point.
It feels like we're wasting a great defense with a bad offense right now. And since Mahomes has been here, that has never been a talking point.
And I'm seeing people on Twitter saying, well, Brett Veach is going to have to attack in the offseason. He's going to have to hit wide receiver like he did the offensive line after Super Bowl 55. Yeah, that's nice and all. But what about right now?
Yeah.
Because you only have so many chances at this. Patrick Mahomes is only going to be Patrick Mahomes for so long. And if you're just wasting seasons, I know, realistically, you're not going to win the Super Bowl every year. But if you have a defense this great, you can't waste that opportunity. Because who's to say it's going to be anything close to this next season? Sure, you can fix the wide receiver room, but you might be 21st in defense. You can't expect it to stay like this. You have to hit the iron while the iron is hot. And here we are, looking at a lost offense. It's inexcusable. And I love and this is why we have Book on this show, because he gives it from a player's perspective and a fan's perspective. I can't do that. I can only speak as a fan, and I'm a pissed off fan right now because this game, the Chiefs had a double-digit lead going into the second half at home, and they score 0 points in the second half. I don't want to hear another person tell me they'll figure it out. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear that this offense is going to figure it out. They're going to click. They're not. This is who they are. We have to accept the fact that they're going to have to squeak out victories 20-17, 21-14. They're going to have to survive games because these wide receivers are not reliable enough. Patrick has zero confidence in these guys. I know he'll never throw them under the bus. He'll never sit here and call them out. But after seeing this again, after 2 weeks to plan for this, to show that you got what it takes, because I know what Trevor's saying. I know Book said it before too. We got to get rid of some of these guys. You got to, tighten up the rotation at wide receiver. But what if they don't have guys to replace them with? What if Rashee Rice is just this? What if this is all he is?
I mean, at this point, I feel like what do you got to lose? It could not get worse. It could not get worse right now. If you replace MBS's routes with Rashee Rice, I know he probably doesn't know the offense as well, but I feel like his athleticism and his gifts physically would overcompensate the lack of just wherewithal on MVS's end. He looks lost half the time, running the wrong routes, not coming back or cutting correctly when Pat's trying to throw the ball where it needs to go and he's not there. It's just it's been a problem since day one of this season, bro. And I'm willing to just throw the guys that have more upside out there at this point and to really, really shake up the wide receiver room because it's inexcusable. These drops just continue to pile up from guys that we were supposed to trust. We got nothing from them, man. MVS has yet to make a really big play this year, like a meaningful big play. And every time he's had the opportunity, he's failed. I'm done. I'm done with it, bro. I'm done.
The Chiefs defense book held the Eagles to 3 of 11 on third down. In fact, I think they were 0 for 8 to start on third down tonight. They didn't allow a third down conversion, I think, until the third quarter. They held Jalen Hurts to 14 of 22 for 150 yards, 0 touchdowns through the air, 1 interception, was sacked 5 times with a 65 quarterback rating. Like, I mean, what more can this defense do, Book? I mean,
exactly. What else can you ask from the defense? You know what I'm saying? These guys, again, I'll say it again, they showed up and they showed out. I mean, of course, we had a couple of drives where, it extended as long as we expected it to go, sometimes penalty. But overall, our defense is like carrying us in every aspect of the game. If it wasn't for our defense, we would probably be like a 5-win team right now.
No
You know
doubt.
what I'm saying? So they have definitely carried us from the beginning of the season. Everybody knows it. Our offense has never clicked this year. Last time we saw the offense click was in the Super Bowl, not even in preseason. So we kind of knew what to expect. They kind of put a lot of expectation on these young kids, and they can't stand up. That's not for everybody. You know what I'm saying? It's a draw of the luck to be able to combine 3 or 4 receivers, and they all help you win a Super Bowl ring.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So right now, we like every other team in the NFL. It's just most of the time we excelled in this position. Somebody plus A stood up.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Now to the point where they're trying to take Kelsey totally out of the game. Let's make one of these other guys win this game, right? They know we got MVS. Hell yeah, they're going to take a chance on MVS before they let Travis run down the middle of the field. You know what I'm saying? So people are adjusting to us. We're not adjusting to them. Like, we had 2 weeks to get ready for the game, just like them. And I think we had a great game plan the first half. Second half, it was like, hey, let's go back to some regular stuff. Wide receivers start dropping balls. Our tackles, run game, I was more impressed in their run blocking than their pass blocking and the penalties. They kind of was like, I'll give them like a 40% foul. You know what I'm saying? And that's bad. That's offensive alignment. That affects everything. Yeah. Pacheco had a nice game. He's going to run that ball hard. And I thought that's when the offensive tackles really shine tonight. Having some good downfield blocks. You know what I'm saying? I know they've been called for holding on the pass blocking, which they still got to work on because that one sack, what's his name? Taylor? Oh, my God.
John Taylor,
God. I was like, bruh, that's embarrassing. Like, we replaced Orlando with him.
Yeah. Basically, salary-wise, yes. That's exactly what they did.
Yeah, salary-wise, I mean, but still, he's still the potential of getting our quarterback killed like Orlando just did.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you guys this question. Let me start with you, Book. Coming into this game, I was feeling very confident. I told Trevor, I was like, man, I think Chiefs are going to take care of business 2 weeks in, to study for this. I'm still willing, even though I already deep down knew what this wide receiver room was, I was still willing to give them another week to prove to me, hey, you know what? They really took their time over these last 2 weeks to fix some things, and now they're clicking. I was ready to crown the Chiefs like, hey, look, man, they're going to repeat as Super Bowl champions, like I predicted at the beginning of the year. I think because of them beating a team like the Eagles, that's going to show that, and it's going to put them on the map offensively this year because they have been struggling. Everybody's been aware of the defense for at least the last few weeks. Now the offense is going to start clicking. The opposite happened. I think it's time that we have some real conversations here, guys, because for the longest time now, things have been really good for us Chiefs fans, and I still think that they can be. But I'm going to be honest with you guys. I don't feel good about this team's Super Bowl chances right now. And I know that sounds like a knee-jerk reaction or, a prisoner of the moment. I get it. But we can't sit here and pretend like this hasn't been a real problem all season. And now in a game like this that you did need to win, a statement game. This was a statement game. You squander it in the same way you did in your previous 2 losses. That tells me that nothing's changed. In fact, it might actually be getting worse. Because now we're sitting here talking about got to just get rid of guys, just tighten the rotation even more on the wide receiver room. And honestly, as we just talked about 30 seconds ago, can we honestly expect this defense to play this great every single week? You know how unfair that is? Because attrition is factored in. Guys get hurt. Guys have bad weeks. Bad matchups. I'm worried. I'm legitimately worried, Book. I'm not going to say the Chiefs aren't going to win the Super Bowl now, but I'm as unconfident as I have been all season.
Gives you some pause, for sure.
I really have to sit here and wonder, is this team going to get out of the AFC? So, Book, where we're at right now, man, how you feel about this? Do you still pencil this team as a Super Bowl team, or are you legit worried?
Let me tell you something. I can attribute this to my personal experience. I played for the Chiefs for 4 years. 2 out of my 4 years, we were the number 1 ranked defense in the NFL, right? We had a great offense. Unfortunately, in the playoffs, it is what it is. But for the regular season, we matched each other. And we always had Pat Mahomes and offense that really just put in this position to where, people had to catch up to us. Even though we were behind at times, we had the confidence knowing that in the second half, we have a great chance at winning this game, regardless of how many points we were down, right? So we just not matching right now. Our offense today is not matching our defense, whereas before it used to be our offense leading the way, our defense not effing it up for us.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Now our defense is leading the way. And our offense is definitely effing it up for us. They're not even just being borderline. They're below the line. And that's hurting us in so many aspects. Wide receiver room, like I said, penalties. That's self-inflicted right there. Just getting beat off the corner and you got tight end help. Come on, that's embarrassing. You're showing the world what we are on offense, even though we got the best quarterback in the league, the best tight end in the league. It's just disheartening to see that defense work that hard and our offense, not at least just being average. They're below average right now.
Yeah, so for me, since Patrick Mahomes has been here, there's always been this narrative where, well, first of all, the Chiefs, since Pat's been here, we typically win these kind of games, and which is why we have this blind faith, like I've said on the show numerous times and our podcast on Saturdays, that I kind of just have to, put the rose-colored glasses on and trust that Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes can figure this out and have blind faith in these guys because they haven't really truly let us down yet up until this point. But there's always a narrative. Even our beloved Nick Wright, who we love dearly here in this town, and I usually respect most of his opinions, but this season so far, and we've had our tight games, we tend to pull them out. He likes to call them, scrimmages or practices for the Chiefs, and a lot of the talking heads and the local radio stations and people around locally that discuss this team on any kind of platform, they tend to say, that it's a skill that the Chiefs have, finding ways to win these kind of games. Whenever things are tight, they tend to find ways to pull it out and just be the bigger team and pull it out when it matters most. That's not happening right now. It didn't happen against Denver. It didn't happen against Detroit. You know, I know we were down some pieces in that game, but still, we still were very much in position to win that game when we had the chances to, and we failed. This is 3 games now this year where we were in those situations and we've lost. It's not a skill, guys. We were able to figure things out because we had better receivers, obviously, for one. We had better execution. We were not dropping the ball and turning the ball over this consistently in the red zone. Turnovers are one thing, but the amount of turnovers we have in the red zone this year is appalling.
Yep.
Right? It's a massive issue. Not only are you giving the ball over to the other team, you're in position to score and you're taking points away. You know, you're taking food out of your own mouth. That's a massive issue. That's the biggest thing for me is we're leaving so many points on the board in the second half. That's my biggest problem. It's no longer a skill. I don't want to hear that anymore, that the Chiefs find ways to win these games. We're losing these games now. What do we do about it? Andy Reid, what do we do about it? Patrick Mahomes out here making tough plays, doing the best he can. He was okay tonight, but when it mattered most, he was brilliant. He put the ball where it needed to be. When we needed Pat the most, the lights were the brightest. Patrick Mahomes was putting the ball on the money, and guys were failing him. It's a massive issue right now. This defense is elite. This defense, in my mind, consistently on a consistency level, has been the best defense in football all year so far. I don't even think it's a question. We're not going to get that love because it's Kansas City and it's Patrick Mahomes and Kelsey here, and they outshine this defense still because of namesake. This is the best defense in football, and we're failing them right now. We should have won this game tonight, and we continue to have red zone blunders and lead points on the board and let teams hang around long enough to where we can beat ourselves, because that's what we did tonight. Once again, that's what we did against Denver, and we got to figure some things out, bro. Super Bowl, shit. Let's talk about even trying to win the AFC right now, because we're out of position on that right now. So we got a lot of things to figure out, man, to say the least.
A lot of things to figure out, and we're a week away from their first matchup with the Las Vegas Raiders, who have surprisingly been playing decent football. They hung tough with the Dolphins this week. They are, I believe, 5-5, if I'm not mistaken. A team that very much believes in themselves, and Antonio Pierce has really gotten the confidence of his team. You can tell this team's buying into him, and I have the belief that the Raiders are coming into this game fully expecting they can win this game. I do. I'm not saying I'm picking the Raiders, but I do believe the Raiders are picking themselves. Yeah. I definitely believe they can win this game. Go ahead, Trevor.
I just want to say, from our guy John Harrison, who's always giving good comments in the chat, I was thinking this, but I didn't say it. But yeah, he says 2 turnovers in the red zone. Even if we just take field goals, that's 6 points and we win the game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if we're going to have trouble scoring touchdowns, we could have took field goals all night and still won this game. But the fact that we continue to just give the ball away in the red zone, it's a massive issue, man.
It's a massive issue. And like I said, I can't believe I'm saying it, a big game with the Raiders this week. The Chiefs are still sitting atop of the AFC West. What'd you say? I'm sorry, Book?
Hey, one of the things I want to say about the Raiders is, they're definitely playing way better ball since they got
inspired.
Your boy, head coaching them, and he has really inspired the team. Even though they lost last week, they still were a team that we're not used to seeing. So right now, the way that we're playing, this kind of team that could come and get a dub off of us. If we don't pay attention to this, it'll be another Broncos type weekend for us. We won't have no excuses of, Mahomes having a flu and high altitude. This is in Vegas. Yeah, it's hot, but what they say, it's a dry heat. So there's no excuses. These guys are lined up for real to come in. Well, we go out there, right? We go out there, and these guys just show it to us. Because, one, we always play down to inferior teams. I don't know what that is for us. Whether we beat them or not, we always go down to that level. You know what I'm saying? And I hate that about us. Yeah. Like, we are very powerful. We too strong, and we too dominant. And we lost that. We lost that this year with our wide receiver group. That's the most potent thing that we got going on that's not, gelled right. After that, I'm going O-line. I'm sorry. They irk me, maybe because I'm a D lineman, but they irk me, and their mistakes are extremely standing out, one way or another. You know what I'm saying? So it's always a crucial time, even if it's a minor time. Any time is a crucial fucking time. Yeah, I'm tired of them.
I agree.
So that's all I got to say.
No, you stole the words right out of my mouth, and I'm glad you said it the way you did, because that's how we're all feeling right now, man. I mean, we can rehash it, but the point is, this team built the team the way they did. They need to get the job done. They're not getting the job done. I mean, we could sit here and paint a pretty picture and say, well, guys, they can fix things. Do it. Well, that's all I've been asking. I disagreed with the moves they made at the beginning of the season, but I was willing to be proven wrong, as I always am, because I'm not sitting here saying I know everything. But what we're looking at right now is what I feared the whole time, and it's coming to fruition in a very scary way. We'll see what happens in a week's time, and speaking of that, we can't get out of here until we get to our final segment, and it's time to book it with Book. Mr. Book, tell us, because like I said, and you said it yourself, they play down to their competition. Well, that might actually not be a bad thing this week, because like I said, the Raiders are playing better football. Maybe the Chiefs will decide, hey, we'll want to play some offense this week. What do you know? They usually play pretty well at Las Vegas. That's where the Super Bowl's going to be. Maybe they can get the field warmed up a little bit, get a little inspiration. I don't know yet. We'll find out, because we're about to find out right now.
If we don't offensively show up in some capacity that's in the most productive way for our team, at least be 50, 70%. You know what I'm saying? Don't be a detriment. Be productive. We ain't even asked for a lot. We know that you're capable of it. Right. But our defense alone has carried us. We go into Las Vegas, the way that Antonio Pierce got them boys running, they hyped. We their number one enemy. You think they ain't gonna be hyped to play us after a loss in their home stadium? They 2 games behind us.
Right.
This huge for them. It's huge for us. But I don't think all our offensive problems can be fixed by the time we play the Raiders. Unfortunately, I really think that we're going to lose that game, a close game, and that's going to affect our playoffs and everything. So, hope I'm wrong. I got the Raiders by 2.
You know what? At this point, the Chiefs have not. I don't think they've won the benefit of the doubt. So it's a big road game. You think they're going to lose? I think that's totally fair. Yeah, I think it's totally fair.
I would love to be wrong. I promise you.
Oh, absolutely. You're keeping it honest, though. That's the beautiful thing about this. We're not sitting here just feeling like I said from the top of the show. We come here to bring honest content to these people. We're not insulting their intelligence. If we really believe the Chiefs are going to lose, we got to say it. And you're saying it, Book, and I greatly appreciate your honesty, man. That's what we're here to do. So, Chiefs got a big amount on their plate this week to figure out. This one's going to hurt big time, and I'm sure that we're going to hear a bunch of excuses this week. But the fact is, we're 10 games into the season now, and we're still dealing with the same problems they dealt with in week 1 immediately. It needs to get figured out, or we're going to be sitting here frustrated because the team didn't finish the job that we all anticipated they would go and get done. So that's where we're going to leave it tonight. I think that we've said everything we needed to say. Book, you were incredible tonight. Trev, you brought it, man, as well. Thank you so much for you guys' contributions. I know this is not easy to do. Trust me, whenever there's a loss, especially a loss like this, it's really hard for us to get on here and want to talk more about it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this as much as you guys did. And I appreciate every single one of you guys for getting in the chat and being with us tonight. If you are somebody that likes to listen to shows before the games, Trevor and I have a show every Saturday at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time called The Spoken Podcast. Book's been a guest of late. That was a great time as well. We'll definitely be having him back before the season's done. We do that. We preview every single Chiefs game. We have guests on. We do a lot of other things. We have chat with you guys as well on the Speak It segment. Join us every Saturday at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. And as of course, every single week, post-game, Chatting Up the Chiefs post-game show with Booker, Trevor, and myself. And hopefully we're talking about a game where the Chiefs turn things around finally offensively and get back into things that we believe them to be, which is a Super Bowl caliber team. But in the meantime, that's what we got for you. This is Chatting Up the Chiefs postgame show. I'm your host, Lance Twidwell, with Trevor Twidwell and the great Book, Vaughn Booker. You guys have a great night. Have a great week. We'll talk to you soon.
Later.
Yep.